Tonight on News 5 Live, a vaccination card scam. Fake cards circulating at the Keys. Belize City Mayor gets COVID-19. More AstraZeneca doses coming from UK. And a tribute to a former Prime Minister in a new biography. These stories and more coming up next on News 5 Live.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
It's time to put your TVs on lockdown. COVID won't stop us this time. After a year of waiting, Summerfest is back, pandemic style. If you're under the age of 18 and you think you have the talent, we are looking for you. Submit videos to us on Facebook, Instagram, and email, or join us here at Channel 5 on Coney Drive to audition from July 26th to 30th from 10 a.m. to midday. Be a part of Summerfest 2021 and show Belize your talent.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, July 29th. I am Sabrina Daly. A pair of fraudsters, including a nurse, has been working overtime falsifying COVID-19 vaccination cards. The same ones that are being issued by the Ministry of Health and Wellness to persons who have gotten their jabs. It's an elaborate scheme that sees fake cards being sold to persons who presumably have to present proof of vaccination to their employers. Earlier today, a release was issued by the government reminding the public of the Public Health Act, which states, quote, that every person who willfully signs a false certificate or return under this part is guilty of an offense and is liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, unquote. Home Affairs Minister Carrie Musa says that a criminal investigation has been launched into the matter. Commissioner of Police Chester Williams says that the illegal operation is centered in the Belize district.
We have been informed of it. There's also an instance, I believe, in San Pedro and Kikocker that we're looking at. That's very concerning to see that there are individuals out there actually carrying out these very fraudulent acts, and certainly that will have its consequences as a result of the police investigation.
We have received complaints from the Ministry of Health of the proliferation of fake vaccination cards. And there are some names that we have gotten as the persons who may be involved in this illegal activity, and that matter is currently being pursued by the police.
So more than one nurse, because that's who we're hearing are involved.
Well, we know about a nurse and we also know about somebody else, a person who is not a nurse. So we are looking for 2 persons at this time.
Are we looking at raiding homes and finding printing material? That sort of thing?
I'm not going to go into details at this time as to what we intend to do, but we're looking at it.
And this particular activity is centralized in one district, one municipality, or a string of systems?
Well, so far we have only received information in Belize district per se.
If there is one thing that the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us, It is that the virus is indiscriminate and can affect everyone and anyone. Tonight, we go one-on-one with Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner, who on Tuesday morning tested positive for the virus. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
The news spread like wildfire today that Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner had tested positive for COVID-19. Since Monday, Wagner had been exhibiting symptoms, and on Tuesday it was confirmed. Of note is that the first COVID-related death was Hubert Pipersberg, an employee of the Belize City Council.
Woke up with a cough, and I was like, how can you go to sleep one night and wake up the next morning with a cough? And so it never did let up during the course of the day, Monday. And so I decided that Tuesday I would need to go to get a COVID test, because I was expected back on the job on Wednesday, and not I wanted to ensure that I did not put any staff members at risk. And so I took the test Tuesday and it came back positive.
Wagner recently returned from vacation and tested negative. He believes he may have contracted the virus right here in Belize while conducting city business. Luckily, his interactions with his colleagues at City Hall and his family were minimal because none have tested positive.
Thankfully, I met the first stage of the vaccination. My family did their tests as well on Tuesday, and all of them came back negative. And so that is where we stand as of today. I've been isolated since Tuesday from my entire family, because the fact that they are negative and we live in one household, you don't want to put them at risk. My entire city council staff and myself took our first shot of vaccination, and thankfully so. After many months of deliberation, I will tell you straight that I had my own questions as well, but after weighing all the odds, I figured that listening to the medical experts, that the vaccination does play a significant role.
So for now, even with mild symptoms, Wagner remains isolated at home for another 2 weeks. In the interim, Deputy Mayor Alan Pollard will lead the council.
We have a very bright young man, Alan Pollard, filling in that role. He has been filling in that role for me for the past 2 to 3 weeks. He'll now have to continue that role for another 2 weeks, right? But I am here constantly on the phone with the city administrator. We do have a very solid team at City Hall.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
A recent spike in the number of COVID-19 infections, 403 active cases reported on Wednesday, continues to raise serious concerns for the Ministry of Health and Wellness. While all efforts are being made to vaccinate as many Belizeans, there is a group that is against getting the shots. Well, there is also a segment of the population that is against wearing masks. Earlier this week, it was reported that 2 elderly persons from Spanish Lookout had succumbed to the illness. That Mennonite community, it turns out, has not been adhering to the COVID protocols, which include the wearing of face masks in places where businesses is being conducted. A trip to Spanish Lookout on Wednesday was a shocker for Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, who saw for himself that the regulations were completely being disregarded.
I went to Spanish Lookout yesterday and I visited one store, and I was really and truly pissed because, like you rightly said, no one in the store was wearing a mask. And I got after them. I don't know how they never called the tax and report me, because I went off. And right away I got on the phone with the OC in San Ignacio, and I told him to ensure that patrols are done in Spanish Lookout and to take along 3 ticket books, because I'm sure that if they do that, they'll be able to exhaust those ticket books. People in Spanish Lookout need to understand that they are a part of Belize and they are subject to the laws of this country. And so, just like how the other parts of this, people in other parts of this country are adherent to the regulations, and when they are not, they're penalized, the same should be done in Spanish Lookout.
How is the Home Affairs Ministry dealing with the enforcement of mask wearing in the Mennonite community? Because we've heard that they haven't been wearing any masks.
It's actually an issue that came out on our national tour. when we visited San Ignacio and Santa Elena, the San Ignacio formation, because a lot of the officers had that concern that we were not to enforce in Spanish Lookout, and we said absolutely not. Spanish Lookout is a part of our country, and they serve Belizeans from all across the country every day on a daily basis, and so they have a responsibility not just to protect themselves but to protect those individuals who come there for commerce each day. And so the police department and those in particular at the San Ignacio formation have that directive that they are to enforce the regulations in Spanish Lookout and other Mennonite communities across Belize.
The government of the United Kingdom has announced a donation of 42,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine to the people of Belize. This donation comes as part of the wider pledge by the UK government to donate 100 million excess COVID-19 vaccines to developing countries. According to a release from the government press office, Foreign Minister Eamon Courtney and the staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Belize worked with representatives of the UK government, including UK Minister of State for the Commonwealth, Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon, and British High Commissioner Claire Evans and her team to secure the necessary doses of the vaccines for Belize. These vaccines will be utilized as part of Belize's ongoing national vaccination rollout. Details are pending on the arrival date. Coming up, an international take on the COVID pandemic, edited by a doctor from Belize. Stay with us.
Digi is bringing the summer heat with their sizzling summer deals. Enjoy big savings on phones as low as $169. Unbeatably hot deals on the Samsung Galaxy A series, Amazon and Alcatel tablets, and so many more. You'll find remarkable deals on the latest models such as the Apple 12 Pro Max and the Samsung S21. Plus, for every device you purchase, you'll get $40, $60, or even $100 bonus credit. But it doesn't stop there. Every purchase also gets you a chance to win big in Digi's back-to-school raffle for a package valued over $2,000. Digi's got that summer heat with their sizzling summer deals. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com/summer deals or visit a Digi store near you today.
Boy, Belly King got a new label.
Why watch this?
Yo. This the my beer.
Bellikin, the beer of Belize.
That's the sound of fuel efficiency. Every day, every time, I choose Una Fuels, powered with Dynamax. Una, a brand committed with the future.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your smart broadband with smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
My name is Star, and I'm a Belizean trans man.
Star is a very fun person, very outgoing, a very friendly person, and quite a charming individual, to just spend some time with.
Dalila is a friend of mine. She's one of my only friends that have been very supportive.
I have so much admiration for Star because I was never aware of the kind of discrimination that Star faces for just being who he is and being true to himself.
It's important to have allies that will respect me no matter what.
For me, being trans, being gay, being lesbian, doesn't matter to me, it doesn't.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Why, Tony?
Boy, kid, what you going on, man?
I actually come see you because I need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, And I just ran out of the last batch, must have been like 3 weeks back,
Man, do I usually have that thing? What are you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
"2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected."
Okay, everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Last month, my father passed away due to COVID-19. My father was not vaccinated. He was not. To be truthful, the things he would have said would be the things that we're hearing around town. But there were also some of the other things, some of the other myths that really I was trying to tell him, no, Daddy, you need to get your vaccine. But I couldn't convince him in time.
I think what they're doing is a disservice to this country. In my mind, what they're doing is creating fear among people when they should be spreading a message of hope. What I hear them say has no basis, no scientific basis for the assertions they're making. And more than anything else, there's no legal basis for their assertion.
Would he have gotten that vaccine, he would still be here cracking his jokes and being his fun, crazy self, and we really miss him.
It's time to put your TVs on lockdown. COVID won't stop us this time. After a year of waiting, Summerfest is back, pandemic style. If you're under the age of 18 and you think you have the talent, we are looking for you. Submit videos to us on Facebook, Instagram, and email. Or join us here at Channel 5 on Coney Drive to audition from July 26th to 30th from 10 a.m. to midday. Be a part of Summerfest 2021 and show Belize your talent.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
The recent rise in COVID cases and deaths have medical practitioners concerned about the toll this disease can take if hospitals are pushed to maximum capacity. General practitioner at the Belize Medical Associates NHI Clinic, Dr. Laura Friesen, says some people are just now starting to take the virus seriously. Today on Channel 5's Open Your Eyes morning show, Dr. Friesen said she tries to show her patients that the risks and consequences of catching COVID if you're not vaccinated are far greater than if you are. This is particularly true for people in their twilight years, obese, or other underlying health conditions.
We have seen now with the rapid spread of cases and the probable presence of Delta in the country, even though we don't have confirmation of that at this time, is that everyone is going to be in contact at some point in time. It would be illogical to think otherwise. So, this is your choice, right? You want to take the risk of getting the vaccine, you get the protection. You want to take the risk of getting the virus, we have a poor healthcare system. It's often overwhelmed, it gets overcrowded very quickly. You want to take that risk, that is also, you can also choose that risk, but that is a much higher risk for you at this time, especially seeing the explosion of cases.
In addition, Dr. Friesen said there are lingering apprehensions about the AstraZeneca vaccine. She attributes this to misinformation, especially about potential blood clots.
They have identified a risk of certain types of blood clot. They remain very rare, but it is there, and I inform all of my patients of that. Actually, if the whole country, I crunched some numbers last night because I was getting ready, and if the whole country of Belize would get vaccinated, I counted a population of 400,000 persons. You would have, at the most, with the current statistics, and these come out of Europe because Europe has used the AstraZeneca the most, we might have 2, at the most 4 cases in the whole country if 400,000 people would get vaccinated of a blood clot, and not all of these end in death. So these can be treated, right? That's not a lot if you look at it at a population level.
A new book called COVID-19 Pandemic: Lessons from the Frontline has just been published, and Belize's own Dr. Jorge Hidalgo is one of these editors. The publication is a compilation of facts and opinions about the pandemic gathered from contributors around the world. The contents range from the thoughts of one of the first COVID-19 patients in Australia to the experiences of leaders in India. Today, Dr. Hidalgo shared more about the publication.
The book is a book that is basically trying to get a world opinion. We have 21 chapters, and what we did is we collect the opinion of the leaders from several countries. But of course, one of the most important is the opinion on our country, what is happening in Belize. We decided to have an opinion of people from Brazil. We have leaders from Brazil to know what Brazil, as everybody knows, went through with the pandemic. We have the opinion also from leaders from the Middle East and see how they face the pandemic, from India. Also, at the end, we have some of a leader from India to comment the overall situation and what is the future in terms of the pandemic, and after what to expect. Also, we have other important points like how the young generation face the pandemic. I mean, we have the millennial opinion of what happened with them, how they felt and during the pandemic, how the life changed dramatically, going to online school, to mention that. we have an opinion of a patient, the patient from the initial start. And the other part that we thought was really important is to have something written about what we do in terms of a search. What are the different steps that is recommended in case of a search, how the health systems respond.
Belize's handling of the pandemic 2020 is also included in the book. Former Director of Technology in the Prime Minister's office, Michael Singh, who was a member of the former administration's COVID-19 task force, says his piece gives the background to decisions the government of Belize had to make.
I did try to, as best as I could, describe the challenges and the underlying factors that caused the government to make decisions that it made. I found that often when a new policy comes forth, whether it's a new SI, if you remember, we had SIs coming out almost every week, and sometimes they would have to change them the day after. And often people would look at that and say, wow, the government looks really confused. But in reality, that's a reaction to what the realities are that we have to deal with. And often the public doesn't know what those realities are. Things like scarcity of equipment, scarcity of supplies, scarcity of the ability to be able to have security forces, to be able to police some of the policies we put in place. There are so many issues that impacted the decisions that were made every day that it's very difficult for anyone that's not in the boilerplate at the time, or to be in the boiler room, at the time, to be able to understand what those realities were. I think early on, when the government first were faced with this, at least when I was there was a belief that this was a medical crisis. And the initial task force was actually a medical task force. And there were very few people involved. And I remember attending the first task force meeting, and going back to the Prime Minister, and I said, PM, this cannot be a medical task force. It has to be a more broad task force. There's so many issues that are impacted, that are going to be impacted when this thing really hits us, that we have to be ready for those things.
COVID-19 pandemic lessons from the front line also includes contributions from Dr. Natalia Baer and other Belizean doctors. The book is available on Amazon in all formats. As we reported earlier this week, the Belize Council of Churches has taken a stern position on the proposed legalization of marijuana. It was expected since the religious community has staunchly opposed to the decriminalization of a small quantity of cannabis for personal use. While the church has criticized government for not being consulted on an issue of national importance such as this, Minister of Home Affairs Carrie Musa acknowledges the role of the church as society's moral conscience.
They are our social conscience. They are our moral compass. And so they will have an issue with this. But as I keep saying, it is all a matter of perspective. And as politicians, we have to look at perspective. Let us look at the consumer. The consumer sees this as relief. The small farmer, the investor, the businessman, they see this as a profit. The government sees this as only practical, given the circumstances that we now face, where we have something that is decriminalized, but you have no way of obtaining it. And so the government sees it as only practical. That's the government's perspective, that there is an opportunity for the country to put in place regulations, because I think that is where the discussion is heading. A lot of the discussion is based on, oh, this is legalization. It is not. It is actually regulation. It is ensuring that you have to be 18 years or older to actually get a card to qualify to use cannabis. And so these things are not currently in place.
According to Minister Musa, passing legislation would establish a system that can be controlled in order for everyone, including government, to benefit from the new industry.
The whole point of this is to create structure and regulation. And so, of course, the church's perspective will be one that this will lead to moral decay. But like I said, it already exists. It already exists. I'm not saying anything new. And so it's just about putting in the proper formula that would see, like I said, the small man benefit, because they are currently the ones that are in charge of the market, especially here in Belize City, to make sure that they are a part of it. And of course, that it's regulated so that the government gets its fair share of tax revenue from the industry.
Education Minister Francis Fonseca is setting out to clarify recent comments made by Prime Minister John Briceño regarding the implementation of the 10% salary cut for teachers. That is because the Belize Council of Churches has taken umbrage with what was initially mentioned. In responding to a statement issued by the council on Tuesday, Fonseca said that it is all a misunderstanding and that the churches misinterpreted what the Prime Minister said.
Let's be very, very clear. Government absolutely values the relationship we have with the churches. I have been a part of 2 meetings along with the Prime Minister. He and I met with the Council of Churches. We value their advice. We fully respect our church leaders. And certainly, as the Minister of Education, I have worked very closely with our church leaders and with the Council of Churches to implement many of the recommendations that they have made to me as the Minister of Education over the past 8 months. I think, you know, this is much ado about nothing. I think there's a misunderstanding in terms of what the Prime Minister said and how it was received. The government has always made it clear. We were engaged in consultations for, as you all know, for 4 months. We made it very clear to the unions that we were in an economic crisis, and that economic crisis demanded that we make tough decisions. And one of those tough decisions, of course, very painful decision, was that we had to reduce the salaries of our teachers and public officers by 10%. So we have never backed away from that. That was a government policy decision. What the Prime Minister was referring to was the fact that we have been taken to court by the BNTU. They've taken the managing authorities as well as the Minister of Finance to court. And in responding to that court case, we had to make it very clear, of course, that the process of implementing that 10% salary cut is one that has to be taken through by the managing authorities.
After the break, the cost of living is going up and the SIB has the stats to prove it. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Let me show you how it's done.
Bye. I can see this still work.
Boy, good and strong.
What the?
Hey, Billy Kingston got a new label. Bartender, 4 Billy Kingston with a new label on it. Now that's how it's done.
The vaccine is now available. We here at R&G Life encourage you to take the vaccine. Belize, it's time to roll up our sleeves.
I'm rolling up mine because I know what COVID can do to families.
Because I want to go back to the way things were. I'm rolling up mine so that I'm able to do music again.
Because I want to protect my family.
Things are slowly getting back to normal. The new normal, which includes getting vaccinated. Trust the facts. When your turn comes, take the opportunity to get vaccinated. Roll up or Belize.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
It's time to put your TVs on lockdown. COVID won't stop us this time. After a year of waiting, Summerfest is back, pandemic style. If you're under the age of 18 and you think you have the talent, we are looking for you. Submit videos to us on Facebook, Instagram, and email, or join us here at Channel 5 on Coney Drive to audition from July 26th to 30th from 10 a.m. to midday. Be a part of Summerfest 2021 and show Belize your talent.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Are you ready? Let's go on an adventure in the West. Tune in to News 5 Live on Friday, July 30th. I am a Belizean traveler. Are you?
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800-A-WAY-OUT or our cell phone number, 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize with funding from the Engender and Spotlight projects.
The contamination of water we all depend on is a very urgent issue. As Belize's popularity and industries grow, challenges increase. In this episode, we will examine the issue of water pollution in Belize. pollution is the contamination of water bodies, usually because of human activities. Water bodies include lagoons, rivers, aquifers, and oceans. On the marine side, the discharge of sewage and bilge water from cruise ships and other live-aboard vessels, in combination with unregulated development of coastal areas, has led to the degradation of marine ecosystems such as mangroves and coral reefs. Our inland waters are facing their own challenges. As agricultural development increases, pesticides, fertilizers, and waste products are running off into rivers. Increased river traffic from boat tours and sugar barges adds to the already stressful conditions of the freshwater ecosystems. In addition, companies that collect sewage sometimes dump the waste right into the waterways. Additionally, in densely populated areas like Belize City and Orange Walk, poor sewage designs result in the contamination of groundwater and of water bodies by both sewage and wash water. In many cases, homes and businesses dump their wastewater directly into drains, which leads to rivers and the sea. Wastewater, detergents, and petroleum collect in drains that empty into waterways, such as the New River and the Belize River. This, along with the runoff and discharges from the agricultural and industrial businesses, have been inadequately monitored and enforced. The answers to overcoming water pollution issues are fourfold: improved infrastructure, adequate treatment, increased legislation and monitoring, and of course, changing our habits for the better. While it is urgent that better management on a policy level is needed, there are a few things we can do at home to help. Ensure proper treatment systems are installed for all wastewater at your home and business. Don't dispose of oil from your automobiles or cooking and household detergents down the drain. And lastly, minimize the usage of chemicals and fertilizers and report any dumping into waterways to the Department of the Environment. The government has recognized the threat of inadequate liquid waste management and is working toward goals of reducing and reversing its effects. For more information on what's being done about water pollution and ways you can help, visit our website at doe.gov.bz. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
There was a late afternoon shootout on Police Street in Belize City. Fortunately, no one was killed. Around 5 p.m., two men on a motorcycle rode up in front of a property on the street and fired as many as 20 shots. News 5 was told by witnesses that while the two assailants were fleeing the scene, men in the area returned fire. Reports on the ground are that children were on the property at the time of the shooting, but no one was hurt, even though the house is riddled with bullet holes. Police responded to the scene. In an update to a story from earlier this week, the Friends for Conservation and Development say they documented a Guatemalan military helicopter and armed forces trespassing in Belizean territory on Saturday. FCD says that this action, quotes, merits a strong protest to the Giametti government and the international community. FCD says they see this as an act of intimidation and provocation, which bolsters the Guatemalan villagers' belief that the part of the country in the Esquivel National Park belongs to them. According to a release from the FCD, the flyover was followed by the arrival of the Guatemalan Force Commander, Captain Espinoza, with 5 GAF soldiers inside Belize. They said they were investigating reports of shots fired in the area earlier that day. The FCD says the group left, but was later seen again in Belizean territory, and a Guatemalan officer named Lieutenant Jesus Merida approached local authorities and asked if the OAS authorized the destruction of the crops and if the villagers were informed. He was told that the Jimenez family has been cultivating over 350 acres of Belizean territory illegally. Local authorities told Jimenez to inform the Guatemalan citizens that they were trespassing on Belizean territory. The FCD, this encroachment is nothing new. That in fact, they have been advancing since 2010, and the Jimenez family has even engaged in cattle ranching. Yet in their words, no credible deterrence has occurred. If you feel like you have been paying more for basic necessities lately, you are right. Belizeans have been paying more for transportation, food, electricity, water, and gas, according to the Statistical Institute of Belize's latest data. According to their findings, commuters paid 11% more for transportation in the month of June compared to 2020. The prices for food and non-alcoholic beverages increased by 4% in the same period, while a 10% increase recorded in the price of fruits and a 6% increase in the prices of meats. Belizeans are also paying more for cooking fuel, according to the SIB. In June of 2020, the cost for a 100-pound cylinder of gas was $91. In June of 2021, that price increased to $112. On the other hand, Belizeans who wanted to enjoy some relaxation and vacation time did so at a lower rate in the month of June when compared to the period of the previous year. Also on the brighter side, this month Belize's imports have almost doubled compared to this time period last year. In June of 2020, Belize exported $103 million worth of goods, while June 2021 saw $189 million in exports. So what changed? The commercial free zone reopening brought in $34 million worth of goods. The importation of manufactured goods doubled, while the importation of beverages and tobacco more than quadrupled for the period. On a larger scale, imports increased by 19% over the last 6 months compared to the same period in 2020. On the other hand, things did not look as good for the export market. In fact, exports were down by 33% in June of 2021 compared to June 2020. Earnings from sugar, marine products, molasses, and bananas all saw decreases. Overall, exports for the first 6 months of 2021 were up by $9 million compared to the first 6 months of 2020. Earlier this month, News 5 reported on the dilemma that onion farmers found themselves in when they had problems getting their 140,000 pounds of onions on the market for sale. They said it was due contraband activity that had effectively boxed them out. Well, after our story aired, there was an immediate response by the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Jose Abelardo Mai. He personally checked the markets and salvaged these situations, so the farmers were able to sell their onions. Today, the appreciation for his efforts, 2 brothers representing the Bomba United Farmers presented the minister with a voucher for $500 worth of fuel to the Agriculture Ministry. Member of the Bomba United Farmers, Fernando Orellana, did the honors on behalf of the community.
Mr. Mai personally came to see us on the field, and he acted immediately, and also we saw the difference on sales. The product that we had, as he mentioned, was done very fast. The date that he gave, exactly that date, we end up with it. And we really appreciate and those type of assistance that we have from behalf of Minister Abelardo Mai and the Agriculture Department also. So on that case, we as the Bomba United Farmers are really appreciated what they do and what they have done. And on that case, we would like to give a donation of fuel for Minister and his department. They can use on whatever they visit farmer, whatever they would like to do.
Minister Mai was more than happy to receive the fuel award and said that the contraband trade is an ongoing problem that his ministry tries to abate through joint efforts of the police, BDF, and Customs Department. And with the contraband of even livestock, the ministry will soon be detecting contraband meat through the technology the rest of the region has already installed.
The movement of animals across the borders, it worries us now. I was told that there's contraband pigs now coming in from Mexican side. I was given that information this morning. Now, it worries me that to that extent, but it does, because it shows that they're moving animals across the border from other countries into Belize. That scares me. Although Mexico does not have African swine fever nor classical swine fever, the movement of animals is something that is a little risky from one country into Belize. We are free of that. We don't have a problem with it. So we have to step up our quarantine measures. We have to step up our surveillance measures, because if we were to get African swine fever in Belize, the industry is over. This is what destroyed 50% of China's swine industry. We are signatories to these agreements that we will put X-rays for organic matters, for organic products that come into the airport. The X-ray machine will pick it up. We have a cabinet paper right now in the pipeline. We hope to get it approved and start installing the X-ray machines that pick up organic-based products.
The upgrade coming in the next few weeks will also include a canine unit to help detect contraband products. Today, Minister Mai toured the National Fisheries Cooperative on Northfront Street in Belize City. His ministry has been getting reports that fishing cooperatives are facing fierce competition from private entities. These have a wider array of marine products and also pay fishers more for their catch.
People want to have that freedom to decide who they want to sell to. What this does, though, is that it makes any organization now have to be more competitive. They have to be better managers, and they have to lower their costs. So this, again, it's competition, and it forces the organizations now to manage their business well. There are many cooperatives that are indebted to their neck. And many times, it is the administrators. There was a cooperative in Orange Rock, the Honeybee Cooperatives. It closed down because they were so indebted.
Just ahead, Still Waters, a biography of Sir Manuel Esquivel, is released today. News 5 brings you the launch when we return.
Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
It's time to put your TVs on lockdown. COVID won't stop us this time. After a year of waiting, Summerfest is back, pandemic style. If you're under the age of 18 and you think you have the talent, we are looking for you. Submit videos to us on Facebook, Instagram, and email. Or join us here at Channel 5 on Coney Drive to audition from July 26th to 30th from 10 a.m. to midday. Be a part of Summerfest 2021 and show Belize your talent. World leaders are preparing to meet in Scotland later this year in October and November as the discussion on climate change mitigation and adaptation continues. The annual Conference of Parties is a worldwide effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and the warming up of the Earth. while providing support to small developing island states that have been adversely affected by the widespread effects of the changing climate. Road to COP26 begins with the ministerial meeting that was held in London between July 24th and 26th. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management, Orlando Habet, led the delegation to the July ministerial meeting in London. He was accompanied by CEO Dr. Kenrick Williams and Ambassador Carlos Fuller, who is Belize's chief negotiator for climate change. The meeting is one of several that will take place leading up to the Conference of Parties 26, also referred to as COP26.
Fundamentally, it was to get to see where we are now, just before the COP, in terms of our commitments and what we have to do collaboratively amongst all the countries to achieve some of the objectives of not only COP26, but in regards to climate change, where we are 2030, 2050. Some of the salient points that were discussed were the issues of the keeping 1.5 degrees alive, which is something that was brought out in the Paris Agreement, basically requested by the small developing states. And so now we're getting more countries trying to join this, but certainly we're not there yet.
During the three-day session, Belize, as a country and a member of the Alliance of Small Island States, AOSIS, called for larger industrialized countries to commit to reducing GHG emissions by 50% as their nationally determined contributions. Of note is that Belize's emission is less than 0.5%, and the country is referred to as a carbon sink and lowers the concentration of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Belize is one of only 4 CARICOM member states that was invited to the ministerial meeting.
All of the discussions we were having over the last couple of days is to say that the position of Belize is led by science. And so what we're doing is to analyze, we did our vulnerability and adaptation assessments to look at the various sectors, agriculture, tourism, water, and those sectors, and see where the vulnerability lies so that we can develop the policies. We discussed the recent experience with ETA and Oyota, and why is it that a country like Belize, a small island development state like Belize, remains vulnerable. And that is why, for example, finance for adaptation is very critical.
While a stockade is planned for 2023, there is a gap in reducing the world temperature by that agreed 1.5 degrees by that time. But to further assist with small island development states like Belize with adaptation and mitigation projects, there is need for increased accessibility and unimpeded finance for climate change.
Financing not only to reach the goal of the 100 billion, which was previously discussed, reaching up to 2025, getting the $100 billion per year up to 2025. But there was discussion also as to what do you do beyond 2025, and whether or not the finances that were approved were looked at from the standpoint of only emission reductions, or no looking also at adaptation, because what the countries are saying is that the monies won't be sufficient for adaptation also.
One of the key positions of Belize is that only 21% of the committed $1 billion has been committed, that the pledge has been committed. And of that 21%, how much can a country like Belize really access? And so we were saying that a small island like Belize is more susceptible to climate change, and therefore we should have quality and accessible financing. And so on the ground, we're balancing these two key things, the information, the data, to drive policy. But at the end of the day, we are susceptible to these exogenous forces. And so we have to get out there and make Belize position so that we get the right money to invest in adaptation.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
He served as Belize's prime minister twice, from 1984 to 1989, and again from 1993 to 1998. But aside from the brief notes on his terms in office in history books and Wikipedia, there has not been a book that reflects on the private and public life of Sir Manuel Esquivel. That is, until now. Today, his wife, Kathy Esquivel, introduced a biography that describes Esquivel as a man of integrity. Here's News 5's Marian Ali with the story.
I think throughout the years, many people have underestimated Manuel because he's quiet, he's humble, he's unassuming, he never raises his voice, he doesn't curse, he doesn't shout, And so a lot of people throughout his time have thought that he must be a pushover. And I think some people decided, oh, well, we can use him because he's such a pushover. And then they were disabused of that impression.
The book Still Waters, a biography of the life of Belize's second and fourth Prime Minister, Sir Manuel Esquivel, is a reflection of the life of a man known for his humility, but who was also criticized for decisions he made that many thought were unpopular. The book highlights those notable events and captures key moments in between that many of us don't know of. Kathy Esquivel says the title suits her husband, for despite his calm disposition, he is also a force to reckon with and a romantic. She says, it is all in there.
I'm the pragmatist. I mean, he's the romantic. He's the romantic. Yes, so he did take me to San Marino, which, because he visited there as a student and he thought it was so beautiful. And so many years later, we did visit San Marino. One thing you'd like is also as a teacher, he organized with others a trip to Mexico City. And someone said, oh yes, I know of a bus, this Orange Walk driver, they had an old school bus. That was a trip to beat all others, and you'll see one picture in here is all of the passengers pushing this bus on one of its many breakdowns. So I put things like that in there, as well as the political part.
Doug Singh's first impressions form a review encapsulating a portion of the book that reveals the Sir Manuel few people know.
In the very first memoir, the author states, and I quote, Manuel's stoic nature, unfairly portrayed as coldness by the PUP, meant that he just did not like to make a fuss about anything, especially if it involved him. This is the first indication that the author is about to reveal the man you thought you knew. The man that, because of his public life, has been smeared with a brush and paint and painted so many shades of gray that if you believed what was said, you really and truly did not know Sir Manuel.
Singh even had some advice for the UDP, the party Esquivel first led to victory in the national polls in 1984.
With the current problems that the UDP is having, I would suggest that all those in the party leadership take a page out of this book. 3 pages, in fact. Page 41, 42, and 43. Therein lies the blueprint of success. You will find that in its inception, the party faced similar leadership challenges, but was able to overcome it and became victorious. Yes, it's in the book.
Reporting for News 5, I am Marian Ali.
Hard copies are available for $50 each at Price & Company Limited on Daly Street, at the UDP headquarters on Youth for the Future Drive, and at bookstores around the country. An electronic read is also available on Kindle for US $9.99. Just ahead, scholarships for some deserving children. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
Un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
A cohort of 40 young people were awarded an opportunity to further their education through a partnership with the Ministries of Home Affairs and Education, as well as the Kobe Foundation. This afternoon, inside the Jungle Pavilion at Old Belize, the young men and women were individually acknowledged by the Belize Police Department, as well as the government of Belize, for choosing to participate in such an initiative. Home Affairs Minister Karim Musa explains that they are more than just scholarships. They are opportunities to make something of themselves.
There is a belief that the government is giving away 40 scholarships. Not true. We are grateful, yes, profusely grateful to the Minister of Education. He was actually the first to render real aid in our fight against poverty and by extension, crime. Yet, we are not giving out scholarships. If we were only giving out scholarships, we would have already failed. And failure for us is not an option. What we are giving is a vote of confidence to our young men and women. A lifeline, a blank check, a reminder that we love and support them, a reminder that Belize is rooting for them. We want them to win too. These are 40 messages, messages of hope, messages of opportunity, 40 messages of empowerment, 40 messages that we have not given up on them, 40 reminders that we believe in who they are and what their potential is when they are given a real chance.
The president of UB, Dr. Clement Sankat, is stepping down. A release from the Board of Trustees of the University of Belize this afternoon announced that Dr. Sankat ends his 4.5 years with this institution on July 31st. Dr. Vincent Palacio, the current dean of the Faculty of Management and Social Sciences, will take over as interim president as of August 1st, while the search committee recruits a new president. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.